So I wanted to do a quick video for you guys. Good morning, Grand Rising, Kings and Queens, Grand Rising. So I wanted to do this video because I had like a realization to this morning, and I was just thinking about all the attacks and stuff that I have received. Some of it funny, some of it just like downright brutal. But I realized as I was talking to you guys on my video yesterday about having accomplished a lot in one state, one city that I've been in throughout my years as a youth, a young adult, young teenager, stuff like that, up until my age of 31 now. And I think a lot of us are not aware of, whether it's a positive impact you make on people, stuff like that, after being, somewhere for so long, 31 years myself. The longest I've ever been out of Philadelphia was literally 5 months. And they was trying to get me back here, the whole 5 months that I was gone. So what I realized, we're going to call this the Chronicles of the revenge of the revenge towards the popular loner, because that's what I realized that I actually am. I never, as I said before, I never considered myself to be, popular or, having a positive impact or being someone that people could look up to or, just be drawn to. Like, as you guys come up, like when you were young teenagers, young adults, you guys will see like movies like Bring It On and stuff like that, where they have, the jocks and the cheerleaders and stuff like that. I never looked at myself like that. I wasn't that popular in high school. I was more popular as a child. So I feel like what I go through now is like, I try to make light of the situation. So I feel like what I go through now is like people that feel like they may have been bullied or went through certain things and didn't feel so popular. They could have been, the class clown. They could have been the person that always cut class, stuff like that. I always been like the quiet, sit in front of the class type of person. I never really cut class. I probably tried it a few times in middle to high school, but mainly because I was being bullied and attacked. So I used to try to stay away from, conflict. So I would, go home and tell my grandma, I'm like, oh, we got out early, but we really didn't. Or, leave out the back door of my high school because I didn't want to, fight or get jumped and stuff like that. So, but I always had like a little sidekick, like my best friend or something like that would be with me, because we would get picked on. So, it's it is a roller coaster. Like my life I haven't always been, I never considered myself popular. I just was very, my aunt and my grandmother kept me in things that allowed me to be in the spotlight. So I never looked at myself like the cheerleader and the jock and stuff like that and popular. But now I'm kind of seeing, other people who may have cut class and was only known for cutting class, or always, getting detention, or always in the dean office. I had my fair share of times too, but it was always for me defending myself, or I would eat cookies in the dean office even though I'm supposed to be getting suspended or in trouble. So, I didn't always have it, peaches and cream either. So I never really looked at like, oh, this shit could come back and bite you in your ass one day. So I call this, what I'm kind of going through. If some of you guys can relate, kind of, as I said before, think about, your progress throughout life and see where you kind of fit on other people's scales, other people's, levels in their eyes. So I kind of look at what I go through. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge on you because you were always the straight A student. You always were getting attention. You were always in the front of the drill team. You always sat in front of the class. You always stayed at the school with the teachers. It's the end of your year, and you stand at after school with the science teacher to get a fucking guinea pig. Like, who does that, right? So I consider myself the popular loner. Like, people are drawn to me. I can hang with people, but it's not necessary. So that's what I, consider myself going through now as an adult. Like, oh, you're still a popular loner. Like, people like to be around you, but you don't have to be around people. So to make light of my situation, I kind of, try to look at it like that. I just had that realization this morning, and I was like, wow. So imagine a bunch of people who were always considered the class clowns, who were always considered to cut class, who were always considered to bully people, like literally bully them in school. Imagine how they feel remembering what they were considered, and then be like, you are always the good one. You always sat next to the teacher. You were the teacher's pet, and I couldn't stand your ass for that. So it's like, sometimes we still, play that same role in people's life and still look like that in people's life. Even if it's not the same people from your class, elementary, middle, high school, we're always in class in real life. So I'm just realizing that it's like the revenge against the popular loner for always getting some type of positive attention. So since I am a mother that's going through a DHS battle, getting my children back, it's like, so finally we get to say something bad about Shawnette. Finally we get to, try to redeem ourselves while we make her look bad. So all jokes aside, it's not really fair. It's not funny. It doesn't feel good. I've heard people say, oh, now you see how it feels. But I don't, because, as I said, what you guys are doing is very ruthless. It's brutal. I'm not responsible for how you guys may have come up as children. I'm not responsible for, how you guys may perceive me. I'm autistic. Like, I didn't even know I was on the spectrum throughout my life. I didn't know I was dyslexic or on the spectrum. So when you guys try to punish me for being quiet or sitting in front of the class or needing more attention in class or by the teacher and sitting next to the teacher than you guys have, do not take it personal. It's actually personal for me, because I never knew that I had a learning disability, which, being on the spectrum, autism, people would say it's great, like, that's not an intellectual disability. It is. It's very, it's very difficult to be dyslexic. So those of you who may be experiencing things similar to this, think about if you were the popular jock or the popular cheerleader or even close to that. If you always won little contests in school or class, if you were the creative one, if you were always raising your hand, if you were always interested in asking questions, because that's how I am. I like to ask questions. I like to learn. Once I get into something like I'm interested in, I want to know more. So you guys, if you are in the same situation or similar, and you guys don't know why you're being bullied or you feel like you're being attacked, just look at that. Especially if you're around people who know you, like watched you grow up, watched you or grew up with you or around you. Definitely look at that. All right, so that's my message for this morning. I kind of found it a little funny when I had the realization this morning, but it can get really, really serious. It can get really real. So yeah, and I mean, as I said, it's not really our responsibility to try to shape and change how people look at us, but having that realization for yourself can also, you know, make you guys aware of your surroundings, make you guys aware of how people may feel. And it's not to walk on eggshells and change who you are, especially if you're not, you know, harming anyone intentionally or anything like that. So, you know, it's just all about self-awareness, okay? And it can also bring you some humor, like it brought me. Some of you guys, if I would say between the 1980s and 90s, when Arthur came out, if you guys look at Arthur, he is I forgot what kind of animal he is, but he is a popular loner. Arthur is the main, and as I said yesterday, I'm not Otis. I don't want to be a main character. But Arthur wears glasses. Arthur, people would consider him to be a nerd. But him and Buster and him are two different type of people. And they're like this. And Arthur is a popular nerd. Very popular, Arthur. So if you guys are not familiar with that cartoon that I came up on, go back, check Arthur, watch a few episodes, and, you know, just gain some humor from it. All right? So that's my message. This is my video. This your girl, Guided Queen. Peace and love.